Aya, sawa. Welcome to today's session. It has been a whole 2 weeks since we met. I hope we are all doing well. It has not been a good time. I can see it has not been a good time, but it has been a very thoughtful time. Still in the heart, you do not know what to feel, you do not know what to do. But yes, here we are. We, when it said life is for the living, I think my interpretation of it most of the time is always life is for enjoyment, but really life is for the living. Now, in the here now, I can actually explain it to be life for the living is you just need to go through every season of life, the hardships, the smiles, the laughters, and sometimes explaining even how you're feeling in the here and now is very difficult. Now you ask me, I feel a bit more calm, but I feel lost. I feel lost in the sense that I have an overlap of feelings, I have an overlap of many things, but anyway, besides that, here we are. Our last session, my great takeaway is, or rather has been, and it has, I don't want to say constant reminder, but every time, or rather most times, when I keep remembering what we were saying, that we live in little miracles, it can be that 1 minute of no pain, or that whole day of going, or going through a full day without remembering what you're going through is a little miracle in itself. And this is what God faithfully does. He gives us those snippets of hope, those snippets of light. And it's a beautiful thing to know that even when we can't walk, we are being carried through. So today, I have really thought about this, and the best topic that we would talk about today is, let's title it When It Becomes Dark. Yeah, because going through a diagnosis is a dark time. And it's a dark time in the sense that when you receive that news, it's a dark time. When a friend or a family member gets that news of a diagnosis, the dark time comes. When you know there is a way you can handle a certain diagnosis, but you don't have the resources, it is a dark time. When the diagnosis has come, yet you remember there is something you overlooked prior to that probably would have helped you not to get to that point of that diagnosis, it is another dark time. And sometimes we receive it and we give ourselves hope. I believe, and I am a firm believer, that first times never kill. Like, first times can break, but most times, first times hardly kill. It is the remembrance of it, it is the repetition of it. And by saying first times don't kill, I mean, when you get that diagnosis and per se unaambiwa you need to take medicine for the rest of your life, in that moment it hits and it looks dark. But then when you talk to people and how our family and friends are encouraging, and we thank God for them, and they come and they tell you, oh, perhaps itaisha. In fact, you even given stories of somebody who went through the same na akapona na ikaisha. by taking medicines or mitishamba, whatever it is. And that gives a sense of hope. So that first time is dark, but it never kills. Now, what kills is the reality, is the like that quote that says when the rubber meets the road, like when it now begins to hit you, a month is gone, 2 months are gone, 3 years are gone, 10 years are gone. Every day of those 10 years, you have been taking medicine and your story is not changing. Maybe it's even getting worse. Now, that is when it even becomes darker. So let me give a story. And I was having a conversation, and this is a very beautiful illustration, in my opinion. It's my mom. So, remember I told you guys that my dad is visually impaired, and I really thank God that this far, he has been faithful to him, and we have seen the faithfulness of the Lord. So, by the virtue of my dad being visually impaired, yani, there is no gap in this life that will ever be left. There is no vacuum. When something happens, the immediate person, I believe God equips them with some sense, everything that is needed. Okay, what do I mean? Let me repeat that statement. I believe when something comes up to why am I losing my track of thoughts? When a situation comes to somebody close to you or even yourself individually, a person around you is always equipped with a skill for the necessary things that need to continue. In this case, my dad is visually impaired, and by the virtue of God's blessings and the necessity of life, a family vehicle is important. So God did not stop blessing us with a vehicle because my dad is visually impaired, because my mom can't drive. The reason I'm saying this is because it's not as easy as now where as a lady, driving it's normal, like ni sawa, it's okay. Those days, a woman driving was such a big deal. So I'm talking about 2006, 2007 when I was, I think in primary, in my early years of primary. So God blessed us with a vehicle, and my mom needed to be the family driver. And so, you can imagine it's a woman, and if she's not taking it out of passion, she's taking it up out of necessity. God being God's confidence, nini, she was given all that. So when my mom, the first times when she was driving, I remember every time we would go somewhere, that is either for family functions or, out, whatever it was, we realized that ikifika hapo 5 or 6 p.m., she would be very keen to say, tuendeni, like finish up, let us leave because I cannot drive when it is dark. And let's take even that statement to be the title for today's conversation. I cannot drive when it is dark. You see, she, in her moments of training, in her moments of learning to drive, she was never taught how to drive in the dark. She was taught how to drive in broad daylight. But the rules of driving in broad daylight are the same rules that apply even when it is at night and when it is dark. The only difference is the level of concentration and keenness needed to go a bit higher when it became dark. And so when that was in the first times, and as she continued, she became a guru at it. And now we would stay up to whatever time we wanted. Of course, it was not like from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. I mean, one time she tried at 7 p.m., 8 p.m., and she saw that she could. And you know, sometimes whatever life throws at you, you just have to. You have to do it. And so Ivo, she drove saa sita usiku, like 12 at night, but she drove in the dark and she got used to it. But I remember a remarkable statement that she told me. It should be a bit last year. I think it was last year. One time when she was requesting me, she was going to pick up my younger brother from school. It's a bit of a distance, so they used to be picked at 6 a.m. when they are closing school. So for us to arrive there at 6 a.m., we needed to leave at 4 a.m. in the house. And so as she drove, like, sorry. So she told me, I really need somebody to be with me there because I am beginning to realize now, years have gone for her. So she's beginning to realize that her eyes are not able to see clearly. But nonetheless, she needs to drive to go and pick my brother at 6 a.m. So she just needs somebody to be there in case of she misses something or she misses to see something that would cause danger. And you as a co-driver, you mentioned. And not once, not twice, I took her that very early morning. I can't remember a time when I told her, there is a lorry, like slow. There is no time I ever mentioned something that she had not seen. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that she was able to drive in the dark even when she did not see clearly. She kept driving. We would say because she has driven for many years, or because she knew the roads, but for sure it was not the roads because it is a road we hardly use even to date. And so I can confidently say it's not a road that she was used to. So we could easily say it was because of she drove quite a lot. And I remember I asked her, why do you keep saying you're not seeing clearly, yet you still keep driving? And she said, because most times when there is a white line, so on the roads, that broken white line that is always in the middle, or some places are yellow, I think some places are yellow. So when she sees that white line, she is able to know she's on the right track. Let us apply this to us now. Hey, I cannot drive when it is dark. Hey, versus I need to drive even if it is dark. You know, darkness is a guarantee, and it is a guarantee. For us, where we are at, people going through life-changing diagnoses, darkness is a reality. Like, it's not something we expect. It is already on our plate. I mean, it's nothing we asked for. It's nothing we desire to have to go through. But we are at that point where we can't say, I can't drive when it is dark. But we are at that point where we are saying, even when it is dark, I need to drive. Because life needs to continue. Because even if it is in tears, we need to move. We don't need to cry standing. We need to cry moving. How does the moving look like? The moving looks like what my mom did. She followed, or she still does. She follows that white line and she knows I'm on the right track. Let me give an example with me. For me, that white line sometimes looks like a let me wake up and feed well. Like feeding well is that white mark for me, just to know, even if nothing is happening, I am on the right track. Like even if the positive change that I desire is not yet there, like I am on the right track. Sometimes, how does it look like moving even when it is dark? Sometimes you need somebody there, like what my mom requested me. Where kuja twende, like come, we go with you in case of anything you need to tell me along the way. And we need those people. And in these moments where we need to drive even when it is dark, we thank God for caregivers in our lives. Caregivers are our parents. Caregivers are also that stranger who you go and tell, please help me. Okay, like for me, when I need to be helped, I ask for it. Truth is, some people don't understand. Okay, you would go and tell them, please help me with this. And they're like, you take this, do 1, 2, 3, it will be okay. But sometimes you even feel tired to explain yourself, and you're like, by the way, it's not a must. Iki to see must, by the way, for it to be done. But you know those people who help without, like, what do I want to say? I am actually trying to mean this. There are moments when you clearly communicate the kind of help that you need. And when you clearly communicate, the fact that a person comes in handy without questioning and they help, for me, those are caregivers that are sent in that moment. Caregivers are also us as people who are supporting each other in this journey. We are caregivers to each other because, as I said and as I commented earlier, when you are going through a particular thing, God is always very faithful to allow somebody have a skill that is necessary for what is necessary for your life to go on to continue without stopping. So for us, when perhaps you're going through pain, and in that, most of the time, like even if we are going through the devastation of going through life-changing diagnosis and the pain that comes with it, the truth is, even when we reach out to each other, the person that you reach out to in that moment is made stronger to encourage you, to give you hope, to pray with you, to do whatever they need to do to show care in that moment. And so we need, like, I need to continue driving even when it is dark. God sends caregivers along the way. And it's good to sit down sometimes and appreciate that those caregivers are in your life. Let me say this, for anyone who is going through life-changing diagnosis, and this is just one example, even if you're going through any kind of trouble, there are many caregivers that are brought our way, and they do it wholeheartedly, tireless. They are willing to give up everything to help you. But the fact that we see them giving up a lot, we begin to feel like a burden, which should never be the case. You see, the moment when somebody's trying to help you and you begin to see yourself as a burden, we put our caregivers in situations where we make them wonder what is the best way to help. We put them in a place where help no longer becomes natural, but it becomes calculated. We, as the people who are getting help, need to be very careful to appreciate and to realize, to amplify the love that people have And it's not amplifying it to others, it is amplifying it as a reassurance to ourselves. So we need to have that reassurance. We need to amplify the love that people show, the sacrifice that people show for us, so that we can become better. And we need to amplify it to ourselves, to reassure ourselves that we are of value, that we really deserve the help and the sacrifice that people are giving. And it is okay sometimes to be at a point where you are not able to give, because I really know and understand that the conflict of people are giving too much, or okay, too much is a complaint, but people are giving so much, and yet you really desire to give equal measure, or at least even a fraction of what people are giving to you, but you cannot because of various reasons. That creates a lot of devastation. But we need to sit in that discomfort, and and it's okay to feel that way, but don't allow that feeling to make you feel insufficient and undeserving. But instead, even as you're sitting in that, just come to a point of radical acceptance where you accept that this is where I'm at, this is what I wish I could, but I can't. And it is okay to be in a season or in that point where people are pouring out to you even when you can't pour out to them. And so that is a great thing, because let me quote what my grandparents tell each other. They keep telling each other, so both of them are alive. That's my grandfather and grandmother from my mom's side, and both of them are alive. And of course, each of them is going through their old age kind of sickness. And it's even in that old age, there is that tendency of feeling you don't want people to see as if you are dependent. You don't want people to. I have seen that with my grandparents. And sometimes we laugh, wondering, okay, now you old man, you old woman, why don't you want to? Like, what's the big deal? Because for us, we see it as respect, and it's okay to care for an old person. But for them, they feel they're becoming a nuisance. But there's something they tell each other, and they tell each other that love, love given and love accepted is already half medicine. When somebody gives love to you, it's one thing to be given love, it's another thing to accept the love. But the fact that you can recognize love is being given, do not try and fight against that love, accept it, because the recognition and acceptance of love is a healing by itself. It is a medicine in itself. Let me also quote a lady who was speaking in a matanga. I'm trying to look for the English name. Who was speaking in a matanga of a friend who had succumbed to cancer, and she was a cancer survivor herself. The speaker was a cancer survivor herself, and she said when she was diagnosed of cancer and she became weak, she could not believe that one time she was the stronger one and she was the one who was helping people. But now cancer got her to a place where she needed to be poured into. But the moment she was able to accept the love that people were giving is the moment she began to be better. It might not be better according to doctor's report, but mentally she began to be better. And she concluded by saying that the greatest medicine of any cancer patient is love. And I want to say this to all of us, it is not just about cancer, it is about any situation. That love, the greatest medicine, the greatest method of healing to anybody who is going through a life-changing diagnosis is love. And let me still embark on the point that I started, or among the first points that I mentioned, that when God allows you to go through a particular thing, He ensures that whatever is necessary for you or for your life to continue, He will supply it to you through other people. And so even when I look at my story, the moment I got the diagnosis that I got, I remember in that moment I was surrounded by love. I was surrounded by a person so dear to me, and he stood there with me. I remember even when I could not ask a question, he asked the necessary questions to the doctor. Even when I could not bear sitting in that matatu because I just wanted to scream and to do, I just wanted to be myself and to let go of that devastation and shock and everything that was happening in that moment. I was surrounded by love, even when I remember that day he took me to a hotel and he spent every coin that he had, even when I didn't have appetite, even to order. I didn't even have the strength to order what I was eating. And still in that, I was surrounded by love. And to date, I still see the love around. I still see the love that God has allowed me to experience through the people He has allowed to be in my life. And so this is a great encouragement to us, and in extension to whoever is listening. It might not be you, listening, the person who will listen to this recording, not for us who are here in this session, but even if it is not a life-changing diagnosis that you're going through, I want you to know that love will be supplied to you. Please recognize it and accept it, and never see yourself undeserving of love. And remember that even if there is nothing else we will remember from today, let us remember that love, the recognition and acceptance of love, is a medicine in itself. And so we thank God for the caregivers that He has deposited around us. We thank God for making us to be in times and in seasons where the only thing that we can do is exist and people pour into our lives. And it's okay to feel that. It's okay to be aware that, hey, you really want to pour into somebody, but you just can't. You can't because of various reasons. Maybe it is physical strength in that moment that you are in. Maybe it is emotional weakness that you are in that moment. Maybe it's I do not want, like Sijiski, and it's okay. It is okay. It is okay. And when we say I need to drive even when it is dark, or I have to drive even when it is dark, I know drive is a verb, and this verb we are taught actions to be loud, and even the saying that says actions are louder than words. But I believe even the understanding of the point where you are at is also an action in itself. We need to be careful to accept the love, because we are deserving of love. We are deserving of people's time. We are deserving of people's care. We are deserving of people's help. Even when we can't help, we are deserving of people's help. And so the fact that we exist is just an evidence that we need to drive even when it is dark. So drive, if you drive in in whatever moment looks like chilling and showing up for yourself, it's okay. You drive in that way. If driving in that matter it looks like not showing up for people in that moment, it's okay. But please let us not be guilty over things that we don't have control over. Because in as much as we need the care of others, we are our first caregivers. Yeah, so let us keep driving when we need to drive, let's keep driving however we need to drive. Yeah, and so much love, so much care. Let us remember that we are here for one another. We are here to love each other. We are here to celebrate each other. We are here to give glory to God together. We are here to cry together. Because this journey, we need to cry together a lot of times, and it is okay. We are here to do all that together because that is what support looks like. We are not only here to support during the good times, but also the tough times. And the reason why I keep insisting on this is there is a time I was speaking and I gave a comment which I want to give even now. If you cannot show up if you cannot show up for me in my happy moments, do not show up even when I am in my weakest. And vice versa still applies. If you cannot help me and show up in my weakest times, don't show up in my happy times. Yeah?
There's
And it's okay.
there's another one
It may,
I had in a movie. No, I'm saying like from what you're
oh,
saying.
so, uh-huh,
I had one. It was saying what matters is not the people who show up during the happy and the sad times.
uh-huh.
Those that matter are the ones who remain no matter after like both situations are over.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm, mm,
That makes a lot of sense.
mm.
Mm. So yeah, that is the essence of the support group. And yeah, let us not just wait to support each other's on Mondays. Let us support each other in the middle of the week, wherever you feel you're more comfortable to talk to in a particular area. Reach out to them. Reach out to them. Because we need each other. We need each other. Some days are good, some days are tough, some days ziko tu. You even wonder what you're feeling those days, and it's okay. We are living and we need to live. Yes, we need to live. We need to live life. As you said, life is for the living. I wish you a blessed week ahead. I wish you a blessed time. If you're watching this much later, whatever it is, if it is the start of your week, I wish you a blessed time. Yeah. Thank you.